And again, like I said earlier, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the chat. We want this to, again, be a learning experience, so ask away. No question is too small. All right. So if you're not familiar with our team, the San Diego Hunger Coalition works to build a more effective system of, facing hunger and connecting families to hunger relief programs so that everyone has immediate, equitable, and dignified access to food assistance. We don't provide direct service, but we do work collaboratively with a number of different partners here in San Diego County through our research, data, education, and advocacy. Our team, works together to again like provide these trainings, connect with other organizations, and increase access to healthy food here in San Diego. This training today is meant to provide a general overview of food assistance here in San Diego, specifically focusing on the Sunbucks or Summer EBT program. We want to help you learn how to promote the program to the children and families in your community. And if you're working with any schools, how to give them the resources to connect to their students and their families. This is a quick outline of the presentation and what we're going to be going over. So we are going to be providing some context behind nutrition insecurity, which will be useful, especially for those who, might not be as familiar with the hunger relief sector here in San Diego. We're going to be going over, of course, the food assistance resources, who is eligible for them, how to connect or apply for these programs, and then we'll have some key takeaways for all of you and offer some additional opportunities if you're interested in learning more. And again, we will send these slides after this presentation is over, so don't worry about grabbing any links or anything. All right. So before I begin talking about the summer EBT program, as I'm sure many of you are excited to learn more about, I did just want to cover some important facts and data to show us why programs like Sunbucks are so important. According to data from December of 2024, nearly 1 in 4 San Diegans are experiencing nutrition insecurity, which means that they can't access 3 nutritious filling meals a day. And that's a lot of people. These can be your friends, your neighbors, people that you just see walking around the street. And it may come as a surprise to some of you, but children in San Diego actually face nutrition insecurity at a higher rate, up to 1 in 3. And issues of nutrition insecurity are actually get exacerbated, during the summer. With children, over here, there are an estimated 212,000 kids in San Diego that are estimated to be experiencing nutrition insecurity. And like I was saying earlier, issues of nutrition insecurity are exacerbated during the summer. Summer is the hungriest time of the year for children. When they go home and they're on break from school, they lose access to those daily school breakfasts and school lunch meals. This is estimated at about nearly 30 million children across the US. When schools are closed and kids lose access to these meals, they are at higher risk of course, food and nutrition insecurity, and they are more likely to experience things like obesity, poor grades, and other negative health outcomes. There are currently programs in place that are trying to combat the hunger gap during the summer, such as summer meal sites. However, despite best efforts, group meal sites have only historically been able to reach about 1 in 6 children who are eligible. And this overall leads to a meal gap during these summer months. And this can be due to a number of potential barriers. Transportation can be an issue, and families aren't always able to find the time to visit these meal sites at the exact time that they're open. And so this is where Sunbucks or Summer EBT is meant to come into play. Oh, I'm sorry. Is audio not too clear? Is this better or is the audio still bad?
It's coming in clear on my end, and it looks like it's coming in clear for some folks, but maybe not for other folks for some reason.
Okay, no worries.
As it sounds like an echo.
Okay.
So maybe it's Okay.
Okay, that sounds good. There is a transcript feature. So if you click on the more, it should allow you to click transcript. So in case I'm not clear, it should help a little bit. All right, just let me know if it does end up, sounding this. All right. So Sunbucks or summer EBT is meant to help bridge that hunger gap during the summer for children. It is a newer permanent program. It actually began last year in 2024. Eligible children are going to be able to receive $120 worth of food benefits that their families can then use to purchase food and groceries during their summer break. It's meant to make it a lot easier for them when they don't have access to those school breakfast and school lunch meals. Summer EBT or Sunbucks is really building off of the work and the data that was discovered during the pandemic with a similar program called PEBT, which some of you may already be familiar with. PEBT oh, PEBT provided additional food benefits to families with children, and it was actually found to have reduced hardship among low-income children by about 30%. It was estimated to have protected about 2.7 to 3.9 million children from hunger. And Sunbucks this year is expected to positively impact more than 29 million children across the nation. And this year in California, there are estimated about 5.6 million children who are eligible for Sunbucks. And I do see a hand raise. Cameron?
Hi. I just had a question about per summer month because I know that some districts in San Diego are traditional schedules, so they only have 6 week summers. So how does that apply or change for those children?
Yeah, so it doesn't actually matter how long their summer break is. They will just get that $120 total. So even if their break is shorter than that 3 month period, they'll still get $120 for their Sunbucks card.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. That's a great question. Thank you, Cameron. So there are a lot of children here in California who are expected to be eligible and who can all get that $120 food benefit. Sunbucks is going to work very similarly to CalFresh, and it can be accepted wherever CalFresh is accepted. So this includes a number of grocery stores across the county. You can even use it for delivery via, Instacart or even participating farmers markets. You can purchase any eligible item, any SNAP eligible item. So typically anything with a nutritional label on it, and this includes things like fruits, veggies, meat and seafood, and so on. And one really major point we want to emphasize before we get into all of the details is the fact that immigration status does not affect eligibility for Sunbucks. So, it doesn't matter your child's immigration status, the parent's immigration status, it will not affect their eligibility for this program whatsoever. And in addition, using these benefits is safe, and it will not affect your immigration status either. And I did get a question in the chat. Is there a maximum per household? So every eligible child is just going to receive that standard $120 total, and it will be for each child. So if you do have several children in the household, each one will get $120. All right. So Sunbucks is going to be a really useful tool for combating child hunger during the summer. But who is eligible for this? Eligibility is going to work in two ways. There is going to be automatic certification. And if you are automatically certified, this means that the family will just get the card mailed to their eligible child right away. There's no form, there's no additional application that they have to fill out. You can be automatically certified through a couple different ways. The first way is through receiving CalFresh or CalWorks. So if you have a child whose family is currently on these programs, or if they were on the program at any point during the past year, then they will be considered automatically certified for Sunbucks. And their card will be mailed automatically to the address that is on file with the county. Additionally, children who are considered foster, homeless, migrant, or runaways will also be automatically certified. The next way for families to be automatically certified is if they attend a school preschool or Head Start program that participates in the National School Lunch and School Breakfast program, and they are certified for free and reduced price meals. And I do want to make a note, it's really important to know this. Right now, school meals are free for all children, but families do have to check with their school to see if they have been certified for these meals. So if they haven't already, they may have to fill out a free and reduced price meal form with their school. And I do want to note, you'll see on the left, we have developed an eligibility flowchart. It is available in English and Spanish, as you can see. So if you are working with any families, they can go through this flowchart to gauge their eligibility for this program. There are other ways to be eligible if the ones that we covered haven't applied to you. Children who are attending ACEP or Provision 1, 2, or 3 school can be eligible if their parents are income eligible and they opt in by filling out the Universal Benefits Application, or UBA. This Universal Benefits Application is new. I mentioned earlier, this is the second year that Sunbucks is being administered. Last year, families had to opt in by filling out an alternative income form. This is not the case this year. Again, this will be through the UBA instead. And then additionally, if you have children whose families are enrolled in Medi-Cal, they may need to opt in by filling out the UBA as well to ensure that they are under the 185% federal poverty level. This UBA form is going to be available at the children's school. It will also be available for download online. And the very last day for families to apply and get this back to their school is September 1st of this year. So September 1st, that really important day, let families know, you have until this time to get that form filled out back to the school and get eligibility for Sunbucks. And I did get a question in the chat. What is the age range to qualify for Sunbucks? So this applies to school-age children. So, ranging from typically about like 5 to even like 18. So school age, like kinder through 12th grade. So the UBA Universal Benefits Application, again, is a newer form that families are going to have to fill out. We have put a screenshot of the form, but it is several pages, so this screenshot doesn't show the entire form. It does have to be completed by the parent and submitted back to the school of the child. This application is going to be used by local education agencies to determine Sunbucks eligibility, and it will need the parent to report any income that is being received by the household. Schools are going to have to report the UBA data to the California Department of Education to their education data collection system. And we have provided a link with more information on this. So if you are a local education agency or you're working with a school, you can visit this link to find more information. And again, if you are working as a local education agency and you have questions regarding data collection, the UBA form itself, you can email your questions to summerebt@cde.ca.gov. And again, very important, just want to reiterate again, September 1st is the last day that families can get this form filled out and back to the school. And I do see a couple questions in the chat. How do I get the form for my families? So CDSS and CDE are coordinating with schools to make sure that this form is, given to them. It is available online as well for download. So families can simply download it, get it filled out or print it out, and then back to the school. And the Sunbucks have an expiration. So Sunbucks benefits, they do have an expiration. Benefits do have to be used within 122 days of the card being loaded. So we are just telling folks, try to use your benefits within about 3 months of getting the card to be safe. You can call the Sunbucks helpline as well, and we'll actually have some more information about that in the next few slides if you want to find out the exact expiration date for your Sunbucks benefits. And I do see another question in the chat. What do you mean by students who are not certified? So if you have students who aren't automatically certified for Sunbucks, then their parents would have to opt in to this program by filling out the UBA form. Students who are automatically certified can include those who are, on CalFresh or CalWorks. So if you're on those programs, you are automatically eligible for Sunbucks, and you're going to automatically get that card mailed to the address on file for the county. See a couple more questions in the chat. The September 2025 deadline would mean students would receive Sunbucks for summer 2026 or for summer 2025. So this deadline is for Sunbucks benefits for this year. So this would be for benefits this year, Amanda. And then how do you know if they're certified? So if you have a family who isn't sure if they're certified, the easiest way to find out if they are will be to call the Sunbucks helpline. And we are going to have some more information on that in the next few slides. All right. I think we've covered some of the questions in the chat. Please continue to put them in here if you have any more. But we're going to go ahead and continue. So this is another screenshot of another page in the Universal Benefits application. The UBA is going to ask for a number of information. It's going to ask families to provide income for their entire household. It does have a section for families to provide a list of all of these students in the household. So if you have several children, several students, it'll ask you to provide some more information, such as their designation as a homeless, migrant, runaway, and so on. It will also ask you to provide all information for the adult household members. So the parents, anyone else in the household, all of their earned income from work, and then any of their unearned income from things like an SSI, pensions, and so on. The UBA is currently only available in English, but the California Department of Education is working to get it translated to, I believe, 11 different languages. I have them all listed here. But schools can translate the UBA to other needed languages if they are serving, a large speaking population of another language. All right. So here's some other information to know about Sunbucks. These cards are going to start to be mailed in June in alphabetical order by last name. Each eligible child in the family is going to get their own card with their name listed. So if you have several children in the household, each one will get their own card. And each card is going to have that $120 as a one-time payment. The cards will not be reloaded. It will be $120 no matter, how long your summer vacation is. And again, we keep saying September 1st. It's just because it's such an important day. Families will have until September 1st to become eligible for Sunbucks. And this will be for Sunbucks benefits for this year. So it will be for 2025 benefits. And then you may have to wait until November to receive your card if you apply over the summer. So cards are going to be mailed out in rolling order. Families who are automatically eligible are going to get them first. So you just may have to continue waiting to receive your card if you apply over summer. And there will be a Sunbucks helpline and website. There is a CDSS website as well. With the helpline, families can inquire about eligibility, request a new card, and get help with pinning their cards as well. The helpline is especially useful for families who aren't sure if they're eligible. So if they are not sure if they're already certified, they can call the helpline and the helpline will be able to help check for them. And I see a couple questions in the chat. So families will get Sunbucks to use in the winter if they apply over the summer. So yes, Naomi, they don't necessarily have to, they may get their benefits, sooner than winter, ideally. But yes, whenever they get their card, that's when they can use it. They may not be able to use it, over summer, although it is called summer EPT.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And I see a couple questions in the chat that were sent via PM. If our school provides free lunches to all students, are they automatically certified for Sunbucks? So no, that is not the case. students who receive, right now, every student is receiving free school lunch meals. However, they do have to be certified for Sunbucks by filling out the free and reduced price meal form. So their parent may have to go out, fill out that form, and bring it back to the school to get certified for Sunbucks. If they don't fill out the free and reduced price meal form, they can fill out the UBA instead. It's really, really important as you're speaking with families about this program. Please encourage them to keep their address up to date with the school and with the county. Depending on eligibility, cards are going to be automatically sent to the address on file with the school or with the county. So we really want to make sure that cards are not being sent to old addresses. This was a problem, last year with the first iteration of Sunbucks. Some cards were being sent to old addresses. It was, causing a lot of confusion. Where was my card? Was it already sent out? So we just want to prevent that from the get-go. So we please encourage families to keep their address up to date. If you want to update your address with the county, you can do that by calling Access or by visiting your local county office, and we have added the access number right here. Additionally, Sunbucks benefits are not going to be eligible for replacement due to EBT skimming and scamming, so getting your benefits stolen. So it is also very important to let families know, please do not share your card information with anyone. Please don't share your PIN card information. There are sometimes scams out there where people will text families and they'll claim to be with a certain organization or agency. So it is really important to make sure that they are not sharing this information. If they do happen to buy food, but they lose the food due to a household disaster or misfortune, such as a power outage, their benefits can be eligible for replacement. So that is one thing that families, will not have to worry about. And then Sunbucks benefits will have to be used within 122 days of the card being loaded. So it is very, very important for families to use their Sunbucks benefits first if they have CalFresh and Sunbucks, just because, the expungement date is a lot shorter. We do just generally recommend using your Sunbucks benefits within about 3 months of getting the card, but you can call the Sunbucks helpline if you want to find out the exact date that your benefits are going to be expunged. Oh, and I do see that there's someone in the waiting room. I have approved everyone in the waiting room, so if they're still in there, just let me know. And the UBA, Susan, it is supposed to be sent to CDE. So schools are going to have to screen that data and then send it over to the California Department of Education. All right. So we know that this is a lot of information, and it can be really confusing. So we have developed a number of resources to help you disseminate this information for families, help them gauge their eligibility. So we have our Sunbucks website, which is live. It has all of the same information, what the program is. We have a frequently asked questions page as well. So if you have, some questions, they may be answered on there. Families may have questions as well that should be on there. And we have developed, of course, a eligibility flowchart as well. So families can look through this flowchart to gauge their eligibility for the summer EBT program. This right here is a general timeline for Sunbucks this year. So starting in June, cards are going to be mailed out in alphabetical order by last name. These are going to start with children who are automatically certified. So like we mentioned earlier, kids who are on CalFresh or CalWorks, for example. The card delivery is expected to complete in July for these children. But children who apply over the summer will start to see their cards be mailed out in August. Again, this will also be alphabetical order by last name, and they will continue to get these cards mailed throughout fall. And then that last September day, September 1st, will be that last day for families to apply. Also important to remind the families who got their cards over summer to use their funds before they expire. So this is just a general timeline, just a good, good thing to know for general timeline for Sunbucks. All right. There are a number of lessons that we need to take away from 2024's administration of the summer EBT program. According to data from CDSS, there were about 100,000 children in the state of California who did not activate their benefits. So with $120 per card, that is a lot of money that went unused, a lot of money that could have gone towards feeding a child. There was overall only a 76.7% PIN rate, overall, like nationwide. So this is the percentage of eligible families who did activate their Sunbucks cards. And there were about 1.3 million children overall who, again, did not access their benefits. And it's important to note this even includes the number of families who, this does not include the number of families who were eligible but never applied. So it's really important that we do more outreach, do more to connect families about, their eligibility, answer questions about the program, and let them know, that they can make use of this. And I do see a hand, Cameron.
Does this differ from normal CalFresh PIN rates?
Yes, this is different from normal CalFresh. So this is only looking at the PIN rates for summer EBT for last year's administration of the program.
Right. I mean, like the 76.7%, is that less than at different times of the year for regular EBT benefits?
Yeah, so this is CalFresh EBT benefits. Typically, like when you get your CalFresh card, it'll automatically come with a PIN. But for summer EBT, families had to go in and PIN the card themselves.
Um,
So this is the number of families who did actually go and do that. So there was, almost 25% of families who didn't.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Were there any other questions before we continue? All right. Doesn't look like it. So we just talked about it. There are a lot of lessons to learn from last year's administration of the program. We know that there's a lot of kids who were eligible but didn't access their benefits. So we have developed a number of different, toolkits and resources that we hope that organizations and schools can utilize to promote the summer EBT program. Schools are, of course, trusted messengers for students and for their families. So, we really need your help to promote this program and let them know that they're eligible. We mentioned earlier, but students whose families are on CalFresh are going to be automatically certified for Sunbucks. And so being on CalFresh is going to be one of the easiest, one of the best ways to promote Sunbucks eligibility because they get both CalFresh benefits and Sunbucks benefits. So we have developed a CalFresh in Schools toolkit. This toolkit has a lot of really great resources for schools to utilize, organizations to utilize as well. It has a sample language that you can use for your website, for emails, for robocalls. We have sample social media posts that you can share online, whether it be to your Instagram stories, Facebook, and so on. And of course, information for how to connect to a CalFresh application assister as well. And we have a lot of this information available in Spanish as well. I do see a couple questions in the chat. I got a question. With federal cuts, will the program be affected in the future? So right now for 2025, the program is fine for right now, but for future, I honestly wish I had more information for you. Um, I don't entirely know yet. That's why it's just really important to try to advocate for no cuts to SNAP, no cuts to these food resources. So for the future, it's kind of like up in the air right now. And I do see another question in the chat. Are independent study programs via a charter school eligible to enroll their students in Sunbucks if they don't have auto eligibility via CalFresh and CalWorks? So that's a really good question, Ruby. I'm not entirely sure about independent study programs. I will have to go back and check on that for you. If you could maybe put your email in the chat, and I'll go ahead and uh, I'll check on that for you. I'm not entirely sure about independent study programs. All right. So for the toolkit, I do just want to highlight a couple of the useful pages on here. First, we do have a CalFresh button that you can add to your website. That'll make it really easy for parents to find the CalFresh application. We do recommend just contacting your school or school district website administrator to add the following information as well as a button of the CalFresh logo. It makes it super easy. That way parents don't have to search for where to apply. It'll just be easily accessible from your school or district website. We do also highly recommend that schools reach out directly to their students and to their families. We have provided sample language for an email, for letters, or for robocalls that you can use when reaching out to families. And we have developed Spanish versions of this as well. The toolkit also includes a list of organizations that provide CalFresh assistance. And it also shows, we also have it available on our website as well. So you can direct families to apply with these application assisters. If your school or organization is active on social media, we do recommend just sharing information about Sunbucks on there as well. We have developed a number of different Sunbucks sample social media posts that you can feel free to take and share. So we have a number of different ones that cover Sunbucks, ones that cover CalFresh. So please feel free to take any of them, add your logo onto it, and share it onto your social media. And we will be sending out these after the presentation is over. Oh, and like I mentioned earlier, the toolkit comes with a list of organizations that provide free application assistance for families who are interested in applying for CalFresh. So please feel free to direct them. There are application assisters all over San Diego County. They are as south as San Ysidro and as north as Oceanside. So I always like to say help is never too far away. Please feel free to direct them to us as well. You can feel free to share our contact information and we'll have it at the end of the slides. If you're working with any families and you don't know where to send them, feel free to connect them with us. All right. Oh, and I do see one question in the chat. Can sunbucks be used at farmers markets? Yes, sunbucks can be used at farmers markets as long as they accept EBT. It can be used anywhere that CalFresh is accepted. And I'm sorry, can you please repeat the age? So school-age children will be eligible for Sunbucks. So this will typically be ages, 5 to 18. And I see another question. Are families receiving new cards or can they reuse them? They will be receiving new cards. So if you have families that you were working with that got Sunbucks last year, their cards are not going to be reloaded. They are going to be getting new cards. New cards for each child in the family. All right. Who approves the UBA once turned back into the school? So schools are going to have to submit the UBA data to CDE. Let's see, it is the CDE. Let me pull it up really quick for you. Schools are going to have to submit it to the California Department of Education's Education Data Collection System, EDCS. And we do have a link in these slides. I'll go ahead and I'll grab it for you, but we will send out the slides so it has more information on it. Is there any guidance on letters that go out to families after filling out the UBA application? So right now I don't have any guidance on what's being sent out for families. We do know CDSS is trying to do mass, mailing, mass notifying for families, but I'm not entirely sure what's being sent out to them. Oh, and thank you so much, Autumn. Autumn shared a webinar from CDE that has information about what local education agencies need to know about Sunbucks. So yes, please feel free to register and attend that meeting. It will be really great for schools. There are students that are in UTK and are 4 years old but attend a regular elementary school, so they will not qualify. So they may qualify if their school participates in the um, school lunch and school breakfast program. So if their school does participate in that, they may be able to qualify. They don't necessarily have to be of a certain age. Are Sunbucks benefits eligible for market match? So I don't believe Sunbucks benefits are going to be eligible for market match. I do believe it will just be, they will be eligible for use at a farmer's market, but I don't believe they will be eligible for market match. Oh, and yes, Maria, Sunbucks benefits will typically school-age children, but Head Start programs are going to be included in that as well. All right. So as we continue, what else can school staff do to inform their families? Well, again, it's important to just continue to outreach. It's really just the best way to make sure that this information gets into the hands of families. There are so many people, so many families who are eligible but not enrolled in CalFresh, and having CalFresh is going to make them automatically eligible for Sunbucks. So we really are going to kill two birds with one stone if we get families on both. There are other opportunities to outreach by connecting with local community organizations as well. So if your school is hosting a resource fair or hosting an event, please feel free to connect with us, and we can help you connect with your closest local CBO to have them attend your resource fair and provide information on this program. And of course, continue to remind families to keep their address updated with both the school and with the county to make sure that cards are not being sent to old addresses. All right. Any questions before we continue? Okay, it does not look like it. If any questions do pop up, please feel free to put it in the chat. But otherwise, I will pass it along to my colleague Kylene to talk a little bit more about CalFresh and why we really want to try to push this amazing resource for
families. Thank you so much, Anna, and thank you for providing all that really important information on Sunbuck. Let's go ahead and dive into it. So we'll start with some data that we have collected through the San Diego Hunger Coalition, which is important to inform our trainings as well as our outreach strategy. So this pie chart represents the food assistance that people accessed in December of 2024. So of the 2.8 or 28.6 million meals that were provided in December, about 59% of those meals, so over half of those meals came from CalFresh, followed by school meals, food banks and pantries, WIC, and meals for older adults. So despite the millions of meals that came from food assistance in December, the county was still short by almost 4.5 million meals, meaning that thousands of families around the country went hungry during the month. Around the county went hungry during the month. So the San Diego Hunger Coalition has also identified an additional 175,000 people who are likely to be eligible for CalFresh but are not yet enrolled. So this shows great potential to reduce the meal gap in 2025 by increasing CalFresh participation, helping thousands of families. This is one of the many reasons why it is important to refer and promote CalFresh. And also, as mentioned, children in CalFresh households become eligible for Sunbucks through CalFresh. So let's go deeper into what CalFresh is and what those benefits are for. So if you're not already familiar with CalFresh, it's a federal food assistance program that provides individuals an opportunity to purchase additional food. So this is also known as SNAP, so the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or also known as food stamps. Now, CalFresh is an entitlement program, which means that if someone is eligible, they will not be turned away from the program. So there is not a limited amount of spots. Some people worry that they may take away benefits from someone who is more in need, but this is not the case. So if the county considers you or anyone else eligible, they will receive those benefits. And so let's go more into where you can use CalFresh. So individuals who receive CalFresh will get an EBT card, so just like the one that you see on the screen. And their benefit amount is downloaded to the card, which they purchase their groceries with, just like they would with a debit card. So the EBT card is loaded each month with whatever amount they qualify for. And if they don't spend it all in one month, it is no problem because the benefits will roll over month to month for up to 9 months. So the CalFresh EBT card can be used in any participating grocery store or farmer's market. And people can even order groceries online with their CalFresh EBT cards using things like DoorDash or Amazon Market. And of course, this will come with a minimum purchase and delivery fee. But this could be extremely beneficial for folks with mobility issues. They also have curbside pickup as well. And so what can you purchase with your CalFresh EBT card? So CalFresh recipients can purchase all food items, so anything in the produce section and anything with a nutrition label on it. In addition, CalFresh participants can buy seeds and plants as well as baby formula. And in addition, it is also important to know that there are some restrictions to CalFresh and what they can purchase. So EBT benefits cannot be used for pet foods, alcohol and tobacco, non-food items, items with a supplemental label instead of a nutrition label. So things like many like dry leafed herbal teas or certain supplemental powders would not be eligible for CalFresh. Also, hot prepared foods cannot be purchased with CalFresh. So cold prepared foods can, but hot is not. So if you're at the grocery store and you can purchase something like a cold sandwich, for instance, or sushi, but you cannot get the rotisserie chicken or hot soup. But if the hot soup is in the cold section and a plastic container with like the nutrition label on it, then that would be available for purchase with CalFresh EBT. So one way that I use to remember this is cold, then sold, hot, then not. And then I do see a question in the chat about can houseless individuals, can they buy hot prepared food? So the answer is yes, and we will jump more into that and to one of the next slides because that's a special program within the CalFresh. So thank you for asking that question. All right, so additionally, CalFresh has a unique definition of what a household is, which differs from the common usage of the term. So in CalFresh, a household is an individual or a group of individuals who live together and purchase and prepare meals together. A quick example that we can see here on the slide is of two groups living under the same roof. So you can have a family like the one in green who prepares their meals together, and then the individual in orange who also lives in the house but purchases and cooks food on their own. So this could, for example, be like a roommate or a relative or a renter, any of those examples. In this case, you have two families using the same mailing address, but they would be two separate households and apply separately because they don't purchase or cook their meals together. And so with that, before we move on to the next slide, I do see a question in the chat. Do you mind to repeat the items can be covered by EBT? Yeah, so like cold foods. I'm sorry. So if we go back to the next slide. Oh, thank you, Anna, actually. Thank you for putting that in the chat. So yeah, so these are the items that can't be purchased. And I also want to mention that you will be getting these slides, so you don't have to worry if you didn't get every single thing down. We will be sending this to you, and this recording will be available. All right, and then let's go to, yes, who is eligible? So anyone within these demographic groups on the screen can apply for CalFresh. So as you can see, single people can apply for CalFresh as well as families that meet the definition of a household. In some cases, children who are under 18 and legally on their own may be eligible. And those who are unemployed can also apply for CalFresh. Legal permanent residents may also be eligible, including refugees and asylees, and those who hold T or U visas. U.S. citizens may be eligible as well, and this includes U.S.-born children, regardless of their parents' immigration status, even if their parents are undocumented. SSI recipients, as well as SSP. These both stand for Supplemental Security Income, and SSP stands for State Supplement Payment. So these groups may also be eligible for CalFresh. So this group will mostly be made up of people 60 years or older, and also people who receive disability benefits. And also want to note that adults with who receive disability benefits between 18 and 59 are still largely under-enrolled. So I also want to mention, so there are some demographics that are not eligible for CalFresh. So this includes undocumented immigrants, DACA recipients, and asylee petitioners, meaning those who have not been yet granted asylum. I would like to note, however, that even though these individuals may not qualify, there may be other household members who could be eligible for CalFresh. And if they are minors, those folks can still, the parents can still apply on behalf of them. And with that, we'll dive into income eligibility. So in addition to needing to be in one of these eligible demographics, you also would need to pass an income eligibility test in order to be considered for CalFresh. So income eligibility is based on the size of the household, how much household earners make, and comparing that to the federal poverty line. So in San Diego, people who fall under the 200% federal poverty line would be considered eligible. So as you can see on the chart, the first column is the number of people within the household. The second column is how much is the income threshold at the 200% federal poverty line. And then the third column shows the range of benefits for each household size. And which additionally, they would need to pass a second income test, which is known as the net monthly income test. So the net monthly income is how much income a household has after certain expenses are deducted. So when applying for CalFresh, applicants can report different, types of expenses. So things like shelter deductions, dependent care, college expenses, a child support payment, utility costs. And for those who are 60 years or older or receive disability benefits, they can also deduct medical expenses. And then also, those who are experiencing houselessness can deduct a homeless shelter deduction. So things like car payments, if they are living in their car, or if they're staying at hotels or motels or even Airbnbs, they can also deduct that um, from their gross monthly income. So reporting these deductions are essential, not only if they are eligible for CalFresh, but also how much benefits they receive. As you can see, the income range, or rather the benefit range, this is going to be very dependent on the net monthly income. All right, next slide. Okay, so once accepted and enrolled in CalFresh recipients may also be eligible for additional programs that they can help with other expenses. So it's not just food, but it's much more than that. So for example, the Lifeline program helps people to access affordable cell phone and internet services. And then also SDG&E has a couple of programs, the Energy Assistant Program, as well as FARA, which can help save in energy bills, which can be extremely important as the summer months are coming up, uh, trying to save those types of energy bills. And then CalFresh recipients can also get many other additional perks like museum passes, additional dollars when they shop at participating farmers markets and Northgate markets, and much more. And I also see a comment in the chat, and oh, thank you, Anna. It says on the last slide, by shelter, you mean cost for rent. Yes, so shelter meaning like rent, mortgages, also any expenses used to repair a house after natural disasters, HOA fees, so anything that goes to your housing. And then another question in chat. I have experienced that permanent residents are rejected for CalFresh unless they provide the sponsor information. Does this change? That is a really good question. I'll
Yeah,
let Anna speak a little bit on it.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about that. So generally, LPRs, legal permanent residents, do generally have to provide sponsor information. So this includes their sponsor's income. This has not changed, unfortunately. There are certain situations where they can not or they don't need to provide information, such as if their sponsor has passed away. But it will vary case by case. So if you are working specifically with a LPR and you're not entirely sure, what to do next when it comes to the sponsor, you can feel free to connect with me. I put my email in the chat. It's just Anna, ANAE at sdhunger.org. And we can work with you to see, what the best step is for your client. And I did see a couple people in the chat were mentioning that, sometimes they're working with parents and their CalFresh benefits get canceled for being a little bit over income, or sometimes they only get a little bit of benefits. Please feel free to connect with me as well. We can connect with the county to make sure that their expenses and that their income are being recorded properly. You would be surprised at the amount of times that it is not actually all recorded properly. So again, please feel free to connect with me.
Yes, thank you for that, Anna. And I also want to mention that we do have a CalFresh 101 training where we do go more in depth with sponsor deeming, as well as mixed status immigrant households. So I definitely recommend we'll send you more information about that training as well. And so going back to some of the CalFresh programs, another important one that has been extremely important, especially earlier this year with the wildfires, is the replacement CalFresh. So Replacement CalFresh is a program available for anyone currently receiving CalFresh who has lost food due to any sort of reason like power outage lasting longer than 4 hours, like I mentioned, wildfires. If your fridge just stops working for some reason or your utilities run out, flooding, which we saw in previous years in San Diego, causing a lot of food loss. So any type of those misfortunes, CalFresh recipients will be eligible to replace the food that they lost. And to do this, they would need to report the loss within 10 days from the date. And then we have the information of where to report that and get the forms on the slide, as well as I'm realizing that I'm reading a different slide, so forgive me for that. So we have the information on that for the next slide. But let me back up and go to the restaurant meals program, which someone asked about earlier when they asked if folks experiencing houselessness um, can get hot prepared food, and the answer is yes. And this is because of the restaurant meals program. Uh, so the restaurant meals program expands EBT eligible purchases to prepared foods for anyone who does not have consistent access to a kitchen or cannot consistently prepare food for themselves. So this expands EBT to food that is readily available to eat. So this population includes adults who are 60 years or older, as mentioned, unsheltered individuals, and then also individuals who are receiving disability benefits, or the spouses of anyone within these demographics. So to qualify, all the folks within a CalFresh household would need to fall under one of those categories in order to qualify. So if the household ends up being eligible for the program, then they can purchase prepared foods from participating restaurants using their CalFresh benefits. And it's important to note that just because one restaurant within a franchise may accept EBT benefits doesn't mean that they all will. So we definitely recommend checking before you go to a location, and then you can find that full list online by calling 211. And then, as mentioned, replacement CalFresh. We will go ahead and skip over that slide since I explained a little bit more, but you can find more information on that slide. All right, so how can you apply? So now that we went over CalFresh and who's eligible, you may ask, how do you apply? So there are a few different ways. So probably the most prevalent way is through Benefits Cal, which is an online portal. And then also another option is by calling 211. And then you also have the ability to fill out a paper application and mail it in to the county. And then you can also go to a CalFresh applicant assister for folks who don't know where to start in the process or may have questions about their eligibility. And we have that on our webpage. Right. And then a question asked in the chat, is there a program who can deliver meal prep foods to their homes for the group people of 60 years older? Yes, there are a number of programs. Unfortunately, we will not be, for the sake of time, we won't be covering meals for older adults, but there are quite a few services, and we would be happy to send that information to you. So if you want to give your information to Anna, and then also we go over that in our other Hunger Navigator program as well. And so on this page, you will see that there's a map of the different application assisters that we have throughout the county. We're very fortunate as an organization to have a lot of wonderful subcontractors who help with CalFresh application assistance. Many of our partners offer multilingual services and can assist people over the phone, online, in-office appointments as well. And since you're familiar with CalFresh, and they have also taken training programs and often have our qualified organizations to contact the county, they can be good advocates for those who are applying for CalFresh. So we recommend you going to our website at SBHunger/Get CalFresh. And there is a full directory of all of our amazing subcontractors. And then as far as support, if you still have questions when you're trying to help an applicant with CalFresh, our organization does work closely with the County of San Diego to try to streamline the process as well as bring up any questions or case issues. So if you are, like I said, working with a specific case, please do not hesitate to reach out. As you can see, Anna is very knowledgeable and she handles all of our CalFresh case issues and questions. So yes, please reach out to our organization or you can directly reach out to Anna and we'll be happy to help you.
Thank you so much, Kylene. Before we continue, are there any questions about anything we've covered so far about Sunbooks or CalFresh? All right, it doesn't look like it, so we'll go ahead and continue. So there are a couple other additional food resources we wanted to cover here in San Diego County. The first one is WIC, and WIC stands for Women, Infants, and Children. This is another food assistance program, another federal food assistance program. WIC typically will only apply for their young children ages under the age of 5, so not school-age children. So this will cover all of the other children at the household. WIC offers a variety of services and provides cash benefits for foods for mothers, infants, and like their children. But it also provides a number of other services as well, and this includes nutritional information, such as group classes that cover nutrition education, building healthy eating habits, learning a baby's feeding cues, and so on. Breastfeeding support, and this includes individual or group support, lactation peer support, and clinic lactation consultants. And then community referrals, so helping participants connect to other services available. In order to qualify for WIC, a person must either be pregnant or someone who was pregnant within the last 6 months. And this includes those who may have experienced a miscarriage, an abortion, or any child under the age of 5. And this, of course, includes foster children or those who are being cared for by their fathers, grandparents, or other legal guardians. It's really also important to know military families can also apply, and their housing stipend actually doesn't count as income for WIC. But this is the income eligibility criteria for the program. They follow the 185% federal poverty level. WIC's income guidelines will vary based on the number of people in your household. So this would include like if you have like the mom and her newborn child, then you would have a household of 2, for example. And WIC has a pretty nice breakdown. It does show your max income weekly, monthly, and annually, as some families do have fluctuating income. So this can help provide a better estimate for those who don't have a set income every month. And these guidelines do change every year, typically around springtime. So if you are working with families who are slightly over income, please encourage them to, check. And yes, Naomi, they are actually going up.
Sorry, just to jump in. They already went up on April 1st. So if anyone wants to go to sdwic.com, I can put it in the chat. That's our regional website for all of our WIC programs, and it has the new income guidelines that are slightly higher. So we've already reached out to some families that didn't qualify this month or last month, but did qualify this month.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful. Thank you, Naomi. So yeah, as you can see, WIC guidelines do update every year, and it sounds like they've already updated. So we do always encourage families to come back and check if they are eligible if they were slightly over income in the past. Yeah, thank you. So in San Diego County, there are 5 agencies that offer WIC services. I believe, Naomi, you work for one of them, correct?
Correct. Yes, American Red Cross.
Yeah, thank you, Naomi. So each agency has several office locations available in different parts of the county. So the easiest way to find your closest agency would be to visit sdwic.com. It is a very easy to use webpage. There will be a form that you would fill out. and it'll show you the closest agency offices closest to your location. You'll put in your zip code, and you'll be able to set up an appointment to go to these offices and get your WIC benefits, get your application all filled out. There is also a WIC authorized food list shopping guide, which can help guide WIC participants and let them know which foods are covered by WIC. We have linked it on this slide, and of course, we will be sending them out after. And of course, if you are working with any families who do have WIC and they are interested in, checking their WIC food balance, they want to make sure they have it up to date, they can use the California WIC app on their smartphone. They have a couple other options as well, such as just looking at their store receipt from their last shopping trip, asking a cashier to print their WIC food balance, or even just calling the number on the back of their WIC card. All right. And I'll go ahead and pass it back to Kylene to talk about food distributions and pantries.
All right, thank you, Anna. So let's go into our food distribution and food pantries that provide an amazing service to our community. So there are many food distribution sites throughout San Diego County, and each one has a slightly different mode of operation. So there are, for instance, drive-through distributions, there are walk-ups. Some sites are open daily, others weekly. Sometimes it's more scattered throughout the month. And then some sites are also by appointment only. So it is important to note that these sites also have varying hours and can make changes due to evolving supply and demand of food. So we definitely recommend before going to a food distribution or food pantry, calling or trying to contact them ahead of time, just so that people who want to participate can get all the information that they need. But overall, our food distribution partners continue to provide thousands of San Diegans with food each month. And then on the next slide, we'll go into what type of foods they provide at the food distribution site. So food distribution sites and pantries can offer also vary in what they offer. So food distribution sites can have shelf-stable food, for instance, which a lot of them do. And also other non-perishable foods, food in boxes, for instance. And then also food pantries. Some provide fresh produce, which can be very nice to provide healthier options for people. Distributions can also distribute other types of perishables like bread or other ready-to-eat meals. And then a lot of them have, a number of combination of all these types of foods. And then some food distribution sites even provide senior commodity food boxes, which is extremely important for older adults. So these typically are like 20 to 30-pound food boxes that are tailored to our nutritional needs of seniors within those boxes. So you can also search with our partners, including Feeding San Diego, as well as the San Diego Food Bank, and then also Salvation Army. All right, and then as mentioned, so this is the contact for the two major food banks in San Diego, but I also did mention that there is Salvation Army as well, who does amazing work in their distributions. And to connect to these organizations, so there are a couple ways. So you can either go straight to the website or call them directly, or you can go to the call 211. And then, as mentioned, these are the website links for Feeding San Diego, as well as the San Diego Food Bank. And as you can see on these maps, they have all sorts of like many locations. So I definitely would recommend checking both of these and typing in your zip code to see which ones are the closest to you. And I see hand up. You can go ahead.
Hi, I'm with the San Diego Food Bank. I'd just like to say, we're sunsetting our North County website. So the link in that you have in the presentation, it might not be working within a few weeks. So I put the new one in the chat.
Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. Yes, and that is also why it's important to, make the phone calls as well and to see the best information for getting to your food distribution site. So thank you so much, Amanda, for that information. And that, we will go to the next slide. All right, so with all this information that you just received, I know got a lot of information for Sunbucks and CalFresh, as well as some extra resources for WIC in the food distribution. But let's go over some just like key takeaways for this presentation. So I want to point out, and even though we didn't talk a lot about this during this presentation, but it's definitely a very hot topic right now, that in this current time, there is, a lot of fear circulating amongst immigrant communities, and it's reasonably so. And during this time of fear, there can be a lot of, there's a freezing effect that goes when trying to access services that still eligible to qualify for, but a lot of immigrants are still choosing not to apply for these programs. And this could either be because of misinformation or just because of fear that this would accessing food services would jeopardize their status. And so we just want to affirm that the Biden administration rule is still in effect. So this has not changed. Um, the Biden public charge rule confirms that immigrant families can be eligible for health care, nutrition, and housing programs without public charge concerns. So since SNAP, WIC, and Sunbucks and food distributions are non-cash benefits, they do not impact immigration status. And with that said, we do understand that the current administration is trying to change this. And we also want to affirm that there are many immigrant organizations, safety net nonprofits, and allied organizations fighting with immigrant communities to maintain access to these programs. And these changes are not quick. They do go through a process. The last time that the public charge was changed was, it took months. It took like almost a year, I think a little bit over a year to make those changes. So it's still going to be a long process. So we're going to have information ahead of time to let communities know if and when the public charge rules do change. And then another key takeaway that we mentioned in this presentation is that, again, food access is safe. So all of the food programs on the screen is safe to access. And then also mentioned, in addition to Sunbucks, school meals, and food distributions, these do not and should not ask for your immigration status. So these ones are definitely are safe. And then with CalFresh, as mentioned, if you are undocumented and you are applying on the behalf of your US born children, CalFresh applicant or your CalFresh application should not ask you for your immigration status if you are applying on behalf of somebody else. And then also want to mention that food assistance programs are not mutually exclusive. So a family can be receiving WIC CalFresh, Sunbucks, school meals, food distributions, any combination or all of these benefits and resources at the same time. During this time, it's really important that we help families to maximize these benefits so that they can put food on the table for their kids and keep a roof over their heads. And the way that we can assist with this is having more streamlined referral programs, connecting with local CalFresh assisters, with offices, food distribution sites. If you have a summer meals program site in your school district, making sure that resources of other programs are available. So just really looking at these food resources as a package, that people should, try to apply for and get the benefit of if they are eligible, and should try to apply if you feel like they are eligible for these programs. And then as a part of our community, we want to help you stay updated on the latest resources, trainings, news, and events. We send a quarterly email filled with important news and resources, including our food assistant resource flyers and slides to this presentation. And as a reminder, you and your community have access to the San Diego Hunger Coalition online resources that can be found on our website on the links on the screen. And if you have a question or a specific CalFresh case that you would like assistance with, you can also contact us at the San Diego Hunger Coalition. All right, and with that, we want to open it up for any questions about any of the food programs mentioned. All right, it seems like none at this time, but we definitely do encourage that, you reach out to us. You can contact either myself or Anna to reach out. And then also, we would, if you would like to help keep these programs going, these free trainings, as well as free resources to help our communities and help in our mission to end hunger. I encourage y'all to donate to our organization, even if it's just $5. It greatly helps to further our mission and to continue providing free trainings. All right. And then with that, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to be here today, especially to the folks in our chat providing us with also up-to-date knowledge. That's why it's such an important community. Like I said, we have many experienced subcontractors and experienced partners and who do wonderful and amazing work. And I'm so happy that y'all took the time to be here today. And with that, I do want to pass it off to Anna, our impact manager, for some final words.
Thank you so much, Kylene. Just like Kylene said, I just want to thank you all for being here, spending your Wednesday morning with us. If you do have any questions, when it comes to Sunbucks, CalFresh, and so on, please feel free to connect with us. My contact information and Kylene's is on the slide. You can give us a email or give us a phone call. And of course, we have a lot of wonderful partners that we'd be happy to connect you with as well. So thank you so much. And thank you so much, Naomi, for sharing your contact information for WIC. Naomi works with the American Red Cross WIC agency, so she's also an amazing resource for this as well. And thank you so much, Amanda, for sharing the updated resource on the San Diego Food Day. It's truly appreciated. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, everyone. All right. Before we end the meeting, are there any questions anyone has? Okay, doesn't look like it. Again, feel free to reach out if anything pops up. But otherwise, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and take care, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.